Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Anu Sabata Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W93.5 NY and beyond. Lawyers for the embattled former Signals Bureau director says the Attorney General's prosecution of his client contradicts earlier stance of prosecution only after a substantial amount of evidence had been gathered. We'll give you details of that. Plus, the Ghana School Feeding Program terminates contracts for all its caterers across the country with immediate effect. This evening, we'll engage the PRO of the Secretariat. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, the GGA to honor 24 individuals and institutions ahead of the World Press Freedom Day. We've got details for you here on Hot Edition, plus the latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Joining me for a summary of the news is Aisha Yakubu Khalid is here. Please.
Thank you. Italia promises to act only with substantial evidence. Edubahin was remanded for 7 days over concerns he could interfere with investigations. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has warned school heads over substandard meals being served to students, citing concerns raised by the president. He threatened to revoke their power to procure food if the quality does not improve, despite the current policy granting them that authority. Also, the strike by TEU Ghana members as the KNUST is expected to be suspended on May 5 following GTEC's assurance that their concerns about governance representation will be addressed within 2 weeks. And President John Dramani Mahama has defended the appointment of Matilda Asante Siedu as second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, highlighting her qualifications and the strategic importance of the role in restoring professionalism and public trust. And finally, energy and finance ministers have met with car power ship officials to address a $400 million debt owed by government amid threats by the power company to suspend operations, a move that could destabilize Ghana's electricity supply.
Aisha, thank you so much. There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. We're live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W93.5 NY and beyond. Lawyers for the embattled former Signals Bureau director Samuel Atachia saying the Attorney General's prosecution of his client cancels his earlier resolve to prosecute only after gathering substantive amount of evidence. Kwabena Duboahin was earlier remanded by the Accra High Court for 7 working days after prosecution told the court he has the potential to interfere with investigation. Lord Edwasari is our legal affairs correspondent. He was in court earlier today. He's joined me in the studio. Lord, what more do we know about this and the developments earlier today?
Right, so Alfred, do you recall that yesterday the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Aine, he held a quite lengthy presser, giving us all the details regarding the former Signals Bureau director and his wife, and then the third person, Mildred Donko, all the charges leveled against them and why they were doing so. And the day before, they were in court, and Alfred, you recall that the presiding judge in the matter, Justice Eugene Nyante Nyedu, he said he wanted to have an in-chambers meeting with the defense lawyers and then the prosecution, because the Attorney General did not want the former Signals Bureau director out there, because he indicated that from the investigations, they have picked that Kwabena Duboahin is attempting to interfere with their investigations and also their witnesses. And so in court today, they met in chambers of the judge, but the Attorney General himself was absent. He was represented by Dr. Sremsai, the Deputy Attorney General, and then Samuel Sashan, the lawyer for Kwabena Duboahin, and then his wife and Mildred Donko. They were in the meeting for a little over an hour. He came out, and then the judge announced that he was going to remand Kwabena Edubuahin. Now, the prosecution wanted him to be remanded for 2 weeks, 14 working days, indicating rehashing their stance earlier that he has a potential to, as it were, interfere with the investigations. They also indicated that even before he was accosted earlier by Iyoko, it was quite cumbersome to get him, and so they indicated that it's flight risk, and so if he's not remanded for 2 weeks, there's going to be an issue. But Samuel Atachia for Kwabena Edubuahin indicated that the Attorney General arrested him on March 20th, and then he was in their custody before he came to apply for the bail, and somewhere in April. And so they had all the ample time, and so he was spraying the court to, as it were, give them 7 days. He didn't even say 7 working days. He wanted 7 days. So tentatively, Kwabena Edubuahin, we wanted him to be in custody for 5 days, and then he can be released over the weekend to his family. But after hearing the arguments, the presiding judge ruled that he be remanded, that's Kwabena Edubuahin, he be remanded into the custody for 7 working days. I mean, at some point, Samuel Atachia joked that it was on a lighter note that, I mean, we are in a government where they are touting 24 hours, so it cannot be the case that you need all 7 days. You can work over the weekend as well. But the judge maintained that they needed all 7 days because, as it were, they needed quite an amount of work to be done regarding the investigations. So he ordered the prosecution to file all the witness statements because, Alfred, the prosecution had indicated that they had certain special witnesses that they needed to bring on board and take their statement, for which reason they wanted Kwabena Edubuahin to be remanded. They were worried that he may interfere with their witnesses. And so he's been remanded, but get this, it's for 7 working days.
7 working days.
The custody of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. Not prison, not police, EOCO custody for 7 days. Now, we spoke to Samuel Atachia on how everything had panned out since they've been in court, and he described it as a storm in a teacup and said that, look, and Alfred, if you recall, when there was a lot of bashing on the Attorney General about the slow pace of prosecution, he did indicate that they want to mass up enough evidence so when they come at you, they're coming hard because they have everything. You'd recall that Dr. Stremsai actually mentioned on Ghana Tonight when he spoke to him some time ago, stressing this. So Samuel Atachia indicated that with what is happening now, it appears they do not have enough evidence against them, so it cancels their earlier stance that they are going to only prosecute when they have enough evidence. And so they are back in court on May 13, by which time they are expected to have filed all their witness statements. So we can listen to Samuel Atachia, who was speaking to journalists.
I don't know what telling me
brought it to our attention. Let's see what they bring, you know. I mean, I don't want to, eat a meal which is not cooked. Yeah, I thought we should wait. And then what they said in the press, we will never prosecute anybody unless we have all the evidence. You see, this cancels the initial position. We don't have the evidence, but we rush the man to court and come and plead the court for more time. That's a travesty of justice, playing with the liberty of the individual and vain experimentation.
Has your relationship with the Attorney General been damaged because of this case? He did say that since the beginning of this, for want of a better phrase, trial, you've not been picking his calls, among other things. Well,
our relationships have not diminished, but I'm careful. Let's have a full conversation and somebody says that, oh, I'm trying to, romance the Attorney General. There's a precedent. And I've been around for some time. I don't want to talk to the Attorney General, although we are very good friends, lest somebody might even go and interpret it. And somebody might even go and leak a tape. Atta is hobnobbing with the Attorney General so that you have some advantages. That is why I'm very quiet about it. I've been around for a long time, and the Attorney General knows it. I'm a senior at the bar. I'm not cheap.
Well, so on that point that Samuel Atachia ended this, what we just heard him say he's a senior at the bar, he's not cheap, and that he is not going to be communicating on phone with Dr. Dominic Ayine, the Attorney General, and that was after you asked him the question.
Indeed.
What was the basis of the question, essentially?
So, Alfred, when they were last in court, which is on Wednesday, right, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, he was peeved, indicating that he had been trying to reach Samuel Atachia called him several times on phones, but he wasn't picking up his calls. And Samuel Atacha was simply not responding to him per what Dr. Aine was saying. Now, Dr. Aine was, Samuel Atacha was indicating that they had ambushed them to bring them to court. This was on Wednesday. And Dr. Aine was saying that he's been trying to call him and wasn't picking up. And prior to this case, the Attorney General indicates that they've been very good friends, having very good relationship. They speak all the time. And suddenly, because of this case, it appears their relationship had been strained. And so Dr. Samuel Atacha, the lawyer for Kwabena Dubois, he was putting this in context, saying that it's not that they're still friends. He's just being cautious because there's been a precedent. And Alfred, I'm sure you know what he's talking about when he's referring to the former Attorney General, Godfrey Bradame, in the case of Ato Forson, where a recorded tape of his conversation with Jakpa was in the domain. And so Samuel Atacha saying that he's just being cautious, doesn't want that to be repeated in this case.
I see. And Lord, appreciate you for this. And so this matter is back in court when?
On May 13.
May 13.
Trial continue. Yes.
Thank you. Lord Edwasari is legal affairs correspondent, giving us details of this. And let's say a bit further on this. Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner, joining us on the telephone right now. Counsel, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. Samuel Atacha is making the point, in fact, condemning his client's prosecution. He says it's a travesty of justice because the Accra High Court took the decision to remand Kwabena Dubois in Iyoko custody for 7 working days, allowing the Attorney General's office to complete witness statements. Does this position have any merit in law?
Well, you see, the thing is that both parties are arguing, okay, what they think is the strength of their cases. So the simple answer is that I'm not in a position to be able to answer it well without seeing all the depositions. And you see that they said they went into chambers. They went into chambers. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you and I have not heard what went on there. So we are all disabled. You can't answer this question well without knowing exactly what went on there. Because in law, the name of the game is evidence. So the evidence or the arguments that they went and did in chambers, we are both not privy to. So in the absence of that, I'm not able to say the judge is wrong in exercising that discretion. And also, the saving grace is that usually when it happens like this, it's an assurance that at the next sitting, the accused person will be granted bail. So it's not something, I know 7 days is a long time. Of course, me talking to you, Mr. Ocansey, I'm the one who went to court to say that 48 hours is 48 hours. And so in our Ghanaian society, the Supreme Court has endorsed for us that human liberty is priceless. Priceless. That's Sophia Ekufu JSC writing. She repeated it a number of times, that human liberty is priceless. So we don't play with it. But when you go back, that's table number 4. But when you go back to table number 2, the Supreme Court makes it clear that it's at the discretion of the judge. So the things the judge heard, you and I have not heard. So it's difficult for me to say that the judge has been harsh. It's not like the Galamsey one that we all saw what was happening, that Oliver and Co. We said, no, that one, the courts didn't treat them well. You see, that one, we saw everything, and it was clear to us that Oliver and Co. were rather being very active citizens, and so what they did not merit remands. Yeah, so I'm aware that in times past, yes, the Galamsey cases, we called out everybody who played a role in keeping Oliver Bakavomawo, the other lawyers and the other activists, AMA governor, etc. Yes, I'm aware, but this one is different. It's different. Galamsey is killing all of us. So if somebody takes an initiative that will quicken, make duty bearers sit up to do something, you don't condemn the person by extending his time in custody. But here, that's not the one we are dealing with here. Here, at least, we are dealing with a case where our 49 million Ghana cedis is in the possession of Edu Buahin. We've not seen that 49 million Ghana cedis. So, and then I don't know what they spoke about in custody, in chambers, the one the media couldn't report on. So let's hasten slowly. And then, and also when such things are made, usually in law, sometimes you're able to file and go back that the judge should reduce the time based on new evidence and new circumstances. So sometimes don't be surprised that within the 7 days, Atachina can go back to court. But for us as lawyers, it's not, I don't have the requisite information to pass judgment on the decision to remand Edubuahin for 7 working days.
I think it's a very important point to make about what was discussed in chambers, which really, essentially in camera, we all were not there. Court correspondents weren't allowed in there. They could only report what they were told outside of the courtroom, outside of that meeting they had in chambers. And that's why I base a question on what Atacha said to the journalists afterwards. He is of the view that decision by the judge is a travesty of justice. That's what he said to the media, essentially playing with the liberty of an individual, that's his client, because he doesn't want to eat a meal which is not cooked. And so he thought that really there should be, he would rather wait. And then what the Attorney General said in the press, that they would never prosecute anybody unless they have all the evidence. This cancels that initial position, and that they don't have evidence, but they are rushing the man to court, and they come and plead with the court for more time. That's the position that he espoused to the media earlier today after the in-chambers meeting. Counsel.
Yes, but you see that so far he's not telling us exactly what went on there in chambers. Has he?
No, he did not.
So that's the thing. So we have to be very smart. Yeah, we also have to be savvy that we don't jump onto a one-sided narration. In any event, that narration is not even about what happened in the chambers. So we all need to know what happened in the chambers before we can pass judgment. But as concerned citizens, we all are very concerned about the whereabouts of our 49 million Ghana. 49 million Ghana. I think at a point, I hope that's $7 million. That was equivalent to 49 million at the time, right?
Yes, at that prevailing rate.
Yes.
But,
okay.
But yes, but there's more. There are other amounts associated with this particular entire scandal that the Attorney General has detailed. So it's not just the 49 million. Excellent.
So more, because a simple thing. Listen, there are certain things you don't even need a lawyer. Assuming this 49 million Ghana cedis that Ayene says Edubuahin pocketed, okay? Assuming it was false, it's not just 9 million that he transferred to the defense people, to buy the cyber defense system. Assuming it's not 9 million, if you pay them all the 49, and within this short period, you would have written to the people, and then you bring us evidence that, hey, Ayene made a mistake. Look, all of the 49 million went. We've not heard that. And we are all very concerned about that 49 million Ghana cedis. And we are not passing judgment, but we are concerned that so far it's been shown that we've lost 49 million. That's not a joke. That's not a joke. So if they want our sympathies, at least we should have heard that, this case, no, we transferred all the money to the Israeli company. So far, we haven't heard that. That one, when you are clean, you can't incriminate yourself. No. If they say you took 49 million, you didn't take 49, you transferred all to the company. It's as simple as showing the evidence. You don't need a lawyer to defend that. Here is a receipt. So we haven't heard about 49 million. And so if we see that the Attorney General is gone in there to ask for time, to do something about that, naturally, our empathy will be with the Attorney General because he's trying to recover money back to the public chest. So the one who doesn't want that money to return has to be doing something, telling us something. So far, you remember how the Attorney General has shown how monies were used to buy Mayfair buildings, so many houses, it's like an estate by itself, etc. The simple question we are asking is, yes, we know about self-incrimination in law. He shouldn't say anything that will incriminate him. But the truth doesn't incriminate. The self-incrimination happens when you are involved, you've done something, and it looks like, hey, what you've done is wrong. so you are not sure, then keep quiet. But if you transferred, if anyone transferred all the money to the Israeli company, what is so difficult about saying that? Why would you even spend money on lawyers when you have receipts, when you have evidence that all the money went? I mean, I don't get it. Who would want to spend? And lawyers don't come cheap. And Atachia, you heard him in the video saying that he's not cheap. He doesn't come cheap. Atachia is of a high pedigree, so fees are expensive. So if you transferred all the money, wouldn't you just go to your home or wherever to contact the company or even the whole archives when you left the office? You can show that, no, it's in this drawer. Ask the accountant. This is, and it's not even bank transfer. The banks are still in business. Multiple sources. And can you just show us receipt? Here is the receipt. All of your money went to the Israeli company. So if you haven't done that, then, and besides, this, the main reasons the judge remanded him were reasons that were advanced in chambers that we haven't heard, then it will be very difficult to come on Atachie's side, notwithstanding that Martin Kpebu, I'm the one who championed Kpebu number, all the Kpebu cases. I mean, number 1, number 2, and number 4, they are all different aspects of bail. So when it comes to bail, it tells you that I sleep, eat, and drink bail. I mean, I don't play with personal liberty. But it doesn't mean that any case at all, then every case, admit him to bail. No, it's on a case-by-case basis. The facts of each case will determine what I say. So that's the point.
And I appreciate your thoughts on this, quite clearly stated. I thank you so much, Lawyer Martin Kpebu, for your thoughts on this.
You're welcome.
And certainly we'll have to have a lot more conversation on this tomorrow on key points as well. So
Absolutely.
do appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
All right.
Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner joining us here on Hot Edition. But this is what the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, indicated when he gave the latest update on Kobne Duboahin, his wife, and Mildred Donko. And then also one other, that is the artificial individual in the name of the company, 4 that have been sued as we speak, cited in this latest suit by the Attorney General. And the big update he gave 2 days ago, this is it.
To decide. I respectfully disagree for a number of reasons. The first is that I said nothing at that press conference that suggested even remotely that their guilt had been predetermined. Far from that. As the Attorney General of this Republic, I am the first to acknowledge that no matter how watertight the evidence of a prosecutor is, the accused is still entitled to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. That is a principle enshrined in Article 19 of our Constitution. And I cannot go against that cardinal principle. The second reason why I disagree with those of my fellow countrymen and women who think that the matters are dealt with at these press conferences should be left to the courts is that the constitutions require that we act, at least in public office, with probity and accountability. I see these press briefings, including the one I'm having today, as a way of breathing life into those cardinal values of our Constitution. Lastly, I think that there is absolutely nothing wrong with a prosecutor exhibiting confidence in his case. With particular reference to the case under review, the diligent investigations by the Economic and Organized Crimes Office led by Mr. Raymond Archer gives me a high level of hope and confidence that, all things being equal, I will obtain convictions on most, if not all, of the charges that I have preferred today. Besides the documentary evidence involving bank statements, deposit slips, check numbers, and so on and so forth, we have persons with deep knowledge of the matter who have agreed to testify at the trial. Persons with very deep knowledge, primary persons who were close to the action, have agreed, after having been, interrogated, about what they know, they have agreed to testify in this matter. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, my fellow countrymen and women, Between March 2025, when I announced the arrest and detention of Mr. Eduboahin and his accomplices, and now, there has been some speculation as to whether my press conference was yet another piece of political propaganda. Some media houses actually claimed that I had been deceived into holding the press conference and that I had in turn misled His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic. Let it be known that unlike some presidents in the past who were misled, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is on top of his brief and cannot be misled. Indeed, if any appointee would mislead the president, it would not be his Attorney General. So everything I have told the president, I have evidence to prove it, and the docket is replete with documentary evidence of the wrongdoing that has been investigated. Having said that, I wish to let it be known that the delay in filing charges came about because our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Mr. Eduboahin, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kobina Eduboahin provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services.
As Dr. Dominic Ayine, Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Republic of Ghana. There is live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and on W93.5 in Y and beyond. The 3 persons, when just getting reports, have died, with 3 more injured in Kintampo, Techiman. That's a crash that happened not too long ago. A fatal collision occurred around 4 p.m. on the Kintampo-Techiman stretch between Manso and Tanobwase, involving a fuel tanker with the registration number GT8355-2024 and a tipper truck with registration number GT53324. According to eyewitnesses at the scene, the crash happened as a tanker attempted to overtake another vehicle, veering into the path of the truck. That's a tipper truck also. Now, the impact of the collision resulted in 3 confirmed fatalities and left 3 others with severe injuries. Emergency services transported the injured to the Holy Family Hospital for medical attention. Personnel from various security agencies were present at the site to manage the situation and commence investigations into the cause of the crash. Now, let's link up with Bono is regional correspondent Belinda Tete, who has visited this accident scene for some more information on this. Belinda, what's the latest on this? What more do we know?
Right. So the latest is that the persons who have been injured are still at the Holy Family Hospital receiving treatment. I do not know how their current state is, but I was speaking to ACFO. I was actually ASC Goten, who tells me that they have been rushed to the Holy Family Hospital and they are receiving treatment. And so we are hopeful that they will respond to the treatment. But the 3 persons who have lost their life have been sent to the morgue. And the security persons, we had fire service, we had the police service, we had the ambulance service who were ready at the scene to make sure they manage the scene and also conveying investigations into the incident. And so that is the latest from the accidents that happened at the Kintampo stretch.
I see, but you know this stretch quite well. I mean, living in the area. Is this an accident-prone area?
Exactly, it is. It's a very accident-prone area, and for like in a year, I can't quite tell the exact numbers, but we get a lot of accidents on that very stretch. And the funny thing is, it's not a curved place that you say maybe it's because of a curve. It's quite a straight route. So I really do not know what the issue is. But we quite record a lot of accident incidents around that stretch.
I see, and I know that the police and other emergency agencies who responded to this accident have been talking. What have they been saying about this incident as we speak?
Yes, so I spoke to the police, and the police tells me that they are still on the investigations until any proper result is discovered. They can't really speak to me, but they told me what really happened. And they have been speaking to some eyewitnesses who gave me the narration, because I got there a little bit after 4, and so I wasn't there when the issue started. But the police gave me the account of what really went down, and they tell me that as and when any update comes up, I'll be the first in contact to be informed.
Belinda, I do appreciate you for this. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Belinda Tete is our Bono's regional correspondent, giving us an update on this rather unfortunate incident. In news we're hearing 3 persons have died with 3 more injured on the Kintampo Techiman Road. A fatal collision occurred around 4 p.m. It's just about an hour and 30 minutes ago on the Kintampo Techiman stretch between Manso and Tanoboase, involving a fuel tanker and a tipper truck. According to eyewitnesses at the scene, the crash happened as a tanker attempted to overtake another vehicle, veering into the path of the tipper truck. Now, the Ghana Journalists Association will honor 24 distinguished individuals and institutions for championing press freedom and the cause of the association over the years. As it marks 2025 World Press Freedom Day, Ghana commemorates the day today, Friday, May 2, under the theme Celebrating Champions of Press Freedom and Ghana's Media Growth, Building a Resilient Media in the AI Era. Giants of the media landscape who have made significant contributions in upholding press freedom in Ghana will be honored. The annual daytime flag-raising ceremony will be held at the forecourt of the Ghana International Press Center, and the evening ceremony will be at the Alisa Hotel. We'll give you details of that shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. But away from that, into matters of education, because the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has expressed disappointment over the poor quality of food served students in various schools across the country. He criticized headmasters and headmistresses for supervising what he described as substandard meals, warning that the government may revoke their authority to directly procure food for their institutions if the situation does not improve. The warning came during the swearing-in ceremony of the Ghana Education Service Council in Accra. In line with the NDC manifesto, government policy allows school heads to manage food procurement to ease the burden on central government. However, Haruna Idrisu disclosed that a report from the president indicated serious concerns about the quality of food being served. Beyond food quality, the minister also raised concerns about rising indiscipline and insecurity in the schools. We'll give you details of that shortly. But while we're at it and still on the matters of education, the ongoing strike by members of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is expected to be suspended, all things being equal, Monday, May 5. The decision follows assurances from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission that the union's concerns will be addressed within 2 weeks. Tewu Ghana has been protesting what it describes as a lack of proper representation on the KNUST Governing Council. But following an assurance from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission that the union's concerns will be addressed within 2 weeks, the strike is expected to be called off. Director General of GTEC, Dr. Abdullahi Junapo, says the commission has no intentions of influencing representation on any university council.
A one-day event. The council is set up for 4 years The reason why TUGH is more or less apprehensive about this whole exercises, they want their interest to be what? To be represented on council. So if somebody is sitting on council, in as much as we are working towards resolving the issue, I think we are not even going to make a case whether the person should be suspended or not. What we want is the person who is representing that constituent, that group of people, must be the rightful person representing them.
Hello?
And we are going to work with them until teams. And let me state for the avoidance of doubt that GTech do not have interest in this issue. We do not support TUC, neither do we support TUGH. We support the writer and we support the interest of the constituents, which is this group of people within that category, for them to be able to sit on council, to profess their ideas and how they can help to shape the forward march of the individual universities. Mind you, GTech also has a rep on these councils. So I don't think it's about who sits on or who does not sit on. It's about representation. And I think that is what this whole thing is about. Thank you.
Well, let's stay a bit further on this. But will the workers really call off their strike heat to this call? Let's get onto the phone lines now and engage the KNUST chapter chair of TEWU, Charles Arthur. Mr. Arthur, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for also having me.
Great. And this, you had the Director General of GTech there, Dr. Abdullahi Janapo, essentially making the point that he's not taking sides. They don't have any interest on who represents or who is represented on the board of any tertiary institution for that matter. And so he's going to make sure that the constituents' concerns are addressed. Convincing enough for you to call off the strike?
Thank you very much. For now, yes, we have taken it in good faith because we have worked with him for some time. So it is our prayer that whatever that he has said this morning, he will take it into consideration and go ahead with it. For us, we have a firm belief that he will go ahead with it and ensure that come 16th, which in fact he has given us a letter, invitation letter to that effect, it shows clearly that he is ready to resolve the matter. So come 16th May, we know this matter will have to come to its logical conclusion. So for now, yes, we'll go ahead as agreed this morning to suspend our strike pending settlement of this matter on 16th May.
No, but let's just a quick recall. What exactly were the concerns, reason why you started this strike in the first place?
Thank you very much. The reason why we started this strike in the first place is that council representation, there's a council slot for a union. That union used to be Teachers and Educational Workers Union of Trade Union, which today, as we speak, there has been separation. So the unions have become two. Now it's who is to represent the union on council. That has become the problem. And we realize that when Tuesday, KNUST Council has been inaugurated, and when it was inaugurated, TUC representative has been sworn in. Then we said no. In Ghana, it does not happen because their membership is 123, and our membership is 789. And they are insisting that their name is in the act establishing the university. And we said, no, your name cannot be in the name establishing the university. And lo and behold, when we checked on the statute, the act, we realized, everybody was there, we realized that the name there is different from their name. Meaning it is a union slot. And if it's a union slot, per Labor Regulation 207, LI 1833, Section 10.1, organized labor. When there are two unions, the labor chief of labor officer comes in and do verification, and the one having the representing the majority of the people who will be given the authority to lead the others. And that has been the norm in Ghana, and that is captured in the regulation. So when it happened like that, we said that no, it cannot be, and we strike. And by the grace of God, they have called us that we should sit down and look at the matter.
I see. And so, really, as we speak, if this is not resolved by the assurance giving, then what next?
it has to be resolved. Because if it has not been resolved, then it means that no one can be on the council for now. Because the person there is not a rightful person. It's not a rightful representative of the workers in KNUST. So in this case, he cannot be there.
And so why was it there in the first place?
It was wrong. It was done based on a wrong premise. And then we have drawn the attention to that fact that cannot be. And they have seen it and said that let's all come together and then look at it. So now, the Director General of GTEC has requested all public universities in Ghana to submit the list of TEU Ghana and TEU GUC for verification, which we are going to look at it come 16th May. So the meeting in the 16th May is going to be the GTEC and then the two unions plus Vice Chancellor Ghana.
We'll see how the things play out. But I thank you so much for the update. I do appreciate your thoughts on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So you just heard there the chair of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU KNUST branch, talking to us, giving us details of what they intend to do going forward after this. Charles Arthur there. But let's still stay on the matters of education and back to our earlier story where the Ghana School Feeding Program issued a statement which we have a copy of right now. They have announced the immediate termination of contracts for all its caterers across the country, according to this press statement released today, May 2, 2025, and signed by the National Coordinator Hajia Fatih Fago. No caterer currently engaging in cooking or has been engaged over the period under the program is permitted to cook for the third term of the 2024-2025 academic year. Now, the statement adds that all outstanding areas that they have been tagged and also identified as matters of concern to the school feeding program and then also the Ministry of Education should be addressed thereof. They have also outlined outstanding arrears for the second term will be paid in due course. The Secretariat says the decision is part of a broader restructuring exercise and promises to announce new modalities for recruiting fresh caterers in the coming days. The Ghana School Feeding Program is an initiative of the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, Pillar 3, which seeks to enhance food security and reduce hunger among pupils in basic schools. The program is in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals on hunger, poverty, and malnutrition. Alpha Siba is the public relations officer of the school feeding program. He's joining me on the telephone in a bit. We'll have a conversation on what has led to this particular decision by the school feeding program. A bit more detail on that. As you may rightly be aware, there's been a number of cases where the school feeding caterers are owed. And they've always asked for the arrears be paid. Concerns have been raised about the quality of the food served the children as well in the schools. We'll try to raise them on the telephone to have a quick conversation on it. But Alpha Siba is joining us on the telephone. Unfortunately, we lost Alpha Siba. We'll try to raise him back on the telephone, some more details on this. But it's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1. We're live on W93.5 in Y and beyond. Also, the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has expressed disappointment over the poor quality of food served students in various schools across the country. He criticized the headmasters and headmistresses for supervising what he described as substandard meals, warning that the government may revoke the authority to directly procure food for their institutions if the situation does not improve. And the warning came during the swearing-in of the Ghana Education Service Council in Accra earlier today.
Education, the club should win when the Minister for Youth and Sports says he has no objection. But that is my thinking. And we trust that you have a number of legal issues in the school. I'm sure my Lord Justice will have a sober reflection of it and guide how we get them resolved, especially out of court. It's not neat enough that every day Winneba is in the news for the wrong reason. Forgive my words. University of Education is not a political institution. You are an academic institution, autonomous and independent. And it should reflect in what you do. Not every day you want to be seen with what goes on in the country to reflect our politics. That is wrong. And as I said, we don't interfere. We won't interfere in what you would be doing. The other is that we need to expand infrastructure for you to increase your absorption of applicants. I know that Vice Chancellor Stephen has been unhappy, and Director General of GES, thankfully you are on the council with him. How students exiting University of Education get access to your portal to get recruited, I think that it must be resolved and it should be resolved. We expect that that should be done seamlessly so that we get many of it. The other day, the president announced that deputy director position of teachers is a tricky one by your practice. If you're a director, you are posted to an office and no longer in the classroom. But because of the limitations act, many of them couldn't rise from deputy director to director and were denied legitimate entitlement of a social mobility upward. Government will review, and the president have directed that the Director General of GS and GS reviews that decision accordingly. But on condition that the directors accept that even though you still be director, if there is no office for you, you can remain in the classroom and still give out your best, but enjoy the privilege and facility that is associated with that particular office. So, my Lord Justice, on this note, sorry to bring you quietly from your quiet retirement. Madam, thanks for the support. I still know that it was on Independence Day that I had to place a call. I hadn't seen you in a long time to confer with high authority if you would accept to play this role. So congratulations. I wish you well. And I trust that you will reposition the University of Education to take its place as Ghana, one of Ghana's important higher education institution which focuses on teacher education and have demonstrated some remarkable successes in the area of research. I thank you, my Lord, and members of the council.
Aaron Idrisu, Education Minister there. Now, to our earlier story, as giants of the media landscape who have made significant contribution in upholding press freedom in Ghana will be honored. Now, as Ghana commemorates the day today, I'm talking about the World Press Freedom Day 2025 under the theme Celebrating Champions of Press Freedom and Ghana's Media Growth, Building a Resilient Media in the AI Era. The annual daytime flag raising ceremony will be held at the forecourt of the Ghana International Press Center and the evening ceremony at the Alisa Hotel. And one man who has played a key role in ensuring that the Ghana Journalists Association remained influential and impactful over the years while he was president is none other than Mr. Alfred, the former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, is joining us on the telephone right now. Mr. Alfred, thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
It's a pleasure, Alfred.
And it's been a while indeed. You're enjoying your quiet.
And I've been monitoring all your tries. Keep them up.
I thank you very much. Thank you. And this day must certainly mean something really good for you, and not just about the honors, but every year a day set aside to highlight the need for press freedom, is it not?
Certainly, yes. Pivotal occasion for all journalists throughout the world, because freedom is our oxygen. Without freedom, the person becomes something else. And so we need to cherish press freedom now and forevermore.
And rightly so. And for having been off the front line and sitting back watching how things are unfolding in the country, what would be your own assessment of press freedom in this country. I mean, beyond what the Press Freedom Index puts out there, I mean, what's your own assessment?
Certainly, we come a long way from yesteryears when we were shackled by all kinds of obnoxious laws, when we were confronted by all kinds of challenges, when we were hobbled by all kinds of restrictions. Press freedom, yes, has come to stay in Ghana, but as Professor once said, once free is not forever free, and freedom is the possession of those who can defend it. So we need to defend press freedom at all times. What is happening reinforces the need for us to always sharpen our focus on our profession and fight against intimidation, against cyber threats and all that. Politically motivated attacks against the media. So we have a long way to go, even though we become far. And to rate it this point, once free is not forever free. So this is what should shape our response to the threat we surround us every day.
And rightly so. And there are those who have made a proposal that beyond what the international bodies do in terms of putting together this Press Freedom Index, some of which the factors that culminates into the index does not take into consideration as to homegrown or country-specific situations. There's been a proposal to have an African Press Freedom Index that addresses the peculiar challenges that journalists on the continent face. Would you support that?
Alfred, after inside, as far as the rankings are concerned, I would say that Ghanaians make input into the rankings. You know, they collect, they have people all over the world, and so the rankings in Ghana are done by Ghanaians and not outsiders. So they contact independent observers who do the scoring and the aggregate, and then they are reflected in the rankings. So it is not something somebody in Paris, the Reporters Without Borders who do the rankings. Ghanaians do the rankings, I know for sure.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us here.
And to all your staff, we are holding aloft to the banner of Press Freedom, and may you keep it up.
Thank you so much, and I wish you well, sir.
Thank you.
Zafemani is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, joining us here on Hot Edition. We're back shortly with the business news. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7.
Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, Ghana Shippers Authority cautions shippers over engaging in unlawful practices, stressing it will not protect offenders. My name is Minu Afo. Stay with us for details of this and more. On all the details, the Ghana Shippers Authority has cautioned shippers and all other stakeholders against engaging in unlawful practices, including narcotics smuggling, under declaration of invoices and other malfeasance. Chief Executive Professor Ransford Jampo, during a working visit to some stakeholder institutions, including the Ghana Airport Company Limited, disclosed concerns of some illicit activities from exporters and shippers. He cautioned that the authority will not shield offenders and urged them to desist from such practices.
We also try to sensitize them about the need for them to comply with rules of the country and regulations of these shipping service providers, etc. Just when I got here, I was told that somewhere last week or so, some shippers in trying to ship their wares smuggled narcotics, as part of their wares. These are not things that we'll have to encourage, and so we've been told, and would also sensitize the shipper community that yes, in as much as we try to protect your interest, in as much as we try to prevent shipper communities, shipping service providers from milking you dry, you must also do what is right. Okay, we protect you, but it doesn't mean that you have to smuggle narcotics or goods that must not be smuggled, and issues relating to under declaration and all that. These things do not help.
You heard Chief Executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, there. Now, government has been urged to expedite the development of gas commercialization infrastructure to utilize natural gas from the 3 oil production fields. Ghana continues to flare raw gas while relying on imports from Nigeria for power due to inadequate gas harvesting infrastructure. There's more in the following report.
According to the 2024 Public Interest and Accountability Committee PIAC report, Ghana produced over 270,000 standard million cubic feet of raw gas from its Jubilee 10 and Sankofa Jinyame fields. However, over 28,000 standard million cubic feet, representing over 10% of total production, was flared due to inadequate infrastructure. Industry stakeholders have expressed concern over the continued gas flaring, while the country relies on imports for power generation. Co-chair of the Ghana Extractives Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantiao, has urged the government to accelerate infrastructure development to harness the gas effectively.
My recommendation to government will be to speed up our gas harvesting infrastructure and gas commercialization infrastructure so that we are able to make effective use of the gas that we produce. We've been told that some quantum of gas has been lost to the state because that's make-up gas, because though we paid for it, we were unable to uptake the gas. That is some money that is lost and that we may not be able to recover any time at all. And so for me, the advice would be, let's speed up the infrastructure. Here now we are around Kumasi. Let's get to the north. If we can cross to Burkina, we can sell the gas to Burkina. We can sell the gas to Côte d'Ivoire and other places that may need the gas if we don't need it for our own use.
And that over there was co-chair of the Ghana Extractives Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantiao, in that report. Away from that, the Bank of Ghana continues its monetary tightening measures aimed at tackling the persistent high inflation in the country. This is evident in hiking policy rate to 28%, followed 3 consecutive meetings where the rate was held steady at 27%. Finance and tax expert and head of finance at Merban Capital, Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji, says the Bank of Ghana's use of 56-day bill in recent times is part of its liquidity management strategy under open market operations to curb inflation.
The Bank of Ghana, as the regulator of the financial system in Ghana, is responsible for maintaining price stability. And as part of its price stability measures, the Bank of Ghana can adopt so many tools, in making sure that the prices of goods and services are stable. And one of those tools that the Bank of Ghana can adopt is the Bank of Ghana bills. Currently, the Bank of Ghana is using the 56-day BOG bills as an interbank liquidity management tool to absorb excess liquidity from the system. You will notice that with the rate of treasury bills coming down, a lot of investors are having excess liquidity, and this is a panacea for inflation. And so the Bank of Ghana is using the BOG bills, the 56-day BOG bills, as a monetary policy tool to absorb excess liquidity from the system in order to tame inflation.
You heard the voice of finance and tax expert and head of finance at Melbourne Capital, Nelson Kudu Kwabeji. There, well, that's it for business on Hot Edition. For more stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com. My name is Minu Aful. Stay tuned. Sports News is up next.
She's always been there for me.
My coat of many colors.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Reku Ampofo. This Sunday, the Accra Sports Stadium will see one of Ghana's football's fiercest rivalries as Heart of Oak face Asante Kotoko in a matchday 30 showdown in the Ghana Premier League. Having previously used the University of Ghana Stadium for their home matches, Heart of Oak returned to the capital's iconic venue after the facility was reserved for the African Schools Football Championships. Director General of the National Sports Authority, Yao Ampofo-Ankra, has assured fans the stadium is fully prepared to host the much-anticipated Super Clash.
Absolutely. All measures, have been taken to ensure that the match will be played in perfect conditions. When I say perfect, if it rains, don't say Yao said it's perfect, but it can happen. Mother Nature has its own rules and the laws, but definitely we'll put everything in place to ensure the comfort of fans, security-wise, the police. We're hoping the Inspector General of Police would honor the invitation to attend this game. It would be a great honor to host the IGP here, and I think the two teams would also, live up to it. There'll be a lot of dignitaries and celebrities and ex-footballers and what have you. They'll all be here, and let's begin the reset for a new era of Hearts and Kotoko and Hearts, where the fans would come in numbers, behave themselves, have great football, and go home cheering the winner. And the losers obviously also accepting it in good faith.
And that was Director General of the National Sports Authority, that's Yao Ampofo Ankra. But we still stay with the Super Clash because that's the big talking point this weekend. Now, ahead of the match, former Asante Kotoko captain and goalkeeper Ibrahim Danlad, now with the Ethiopian side, Kofi SC, has backed his former team to come out on top against Hearts of Oak despite their recent challenges.
I have a great feeling that this game is a must-win game for us, and I know the agenda 18 points can work easily when we win this game. So they should come in their numbers to support the team, and I know inshallah we'll win because Kwampuku is back on his feet again with the goals he scored in the previous game. That tells you, and then he's a player who always score House of Folk. So for me, if you tell me to predict, I'll even say Kwampuku will score a goal in that game, and we will also get a clean sheet in this game. So it's an easy win for Kumasi Asante.
And so let's do some more. This time here from the fans of Asante Kotoko, who are largely optimistic ahead of the game. Most of them believe that the switch from Prosper Natiogum to Karim Zito will spark a crucial victory in the Super Clash.
Well, playing House of Folk is not a challenge at all. It's one of the easiest matches. But in a situation where the referees decide to be fair and handle matters in a situation that we all like, Koroko will not have any challenge in beating House of Folk in Accra.
Yeah, sure. We are very optimistic. For 4 continuous matches, we've beaten them. So this thing is not a new thing. We are going to do it for the 5th time. And for them themselves, they know that we are going to beat them again. It is going to be 5 on a trot.
Obi ayashana to us 4 times a day. Omutimi nyabi, na omutimi nyabi suda. And it just comes Sunday. Because league in party.
This is the Ghanaian version of the El Clasico. So as an ardent Kodoko fan, you don't expect me to say anything else. But I believe that against us, we have a good record. And the boys play as if they are possessed. I think we'll win.
And so those were the thoughts of some Asante Kotoko fans. Let's now move from the fans to a legend of Asante Kotoko because Opoku Inti has endorsed the club's decision to part ways with Prosper Ogum, expressing confidence that Karim Zito has what it takes to lead the Porcupines to the title, even with BBNE Gold Stars currently in pole position.
Seeing the matches, previous matches, and seeing this match, and those who are in front of Kotoko losing, I believe Kotoko is capable to take the league. I believe so. Deep down in my heart. They have to set a complacency. They should focus, train very hard, rest a lot to face House of Folk. If they are able to win House of Folk, I'm sure that Kotoko will win there.
Well, before we go, let's get the latest from the ongoing Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, where Group C action began later today with Senegal, who are the reigning champions of the competition, facing Central African Republic. That game ended in 1-1 between the two sides who could not be separated. Currently, the other 2 Group C teams, that's DR Congo and Ghana's Under-20 side, are playing, and in fact, DR
0.7 we're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. So going to some more stories here on Hot Edition. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abe, says the government is working on a legislation to criminalize the cutting down of cocoa trees in the country. The move, according to Dr. Abe, is aimed at safeguarding Ghana's agricultural sector and protecting the livelihoods of thousands of cocoa farmers who face growing threats from illegal mining and deforestation. The Cocoa Board CEO has been engaging cocoa farmers in the Ashanti region on government plans to enhance the sector and make it more profitable.
Existing laws are not stringent enough. The cocoa tree is not protected, and that is how people can indiscriminately just fell cocoa trees, and then under the pretext of mining, whether it's prospective or it's actual mining, we're just destroying cocoa trees. So cocoa must be protected, and that is what one of the assurances the president gave the executives of the farmers when he met them at the Jubilee House. So we need to sit with the Attorney General's Department to be able to craft the necessary amendments and then get Parliament to approve this.
Dr. Randy Abe there, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, also assured cocoa farmers in the northern region of a favorable producer price for the 2025-2026 crop season.
It was with regard to the handing over. Let me say I've inherited the negative balance of the assembly. There is no funds in the assembly coffer. For the restaurants, I would say the security were not in proper. If the security were actually in place or proper, I don't think things that got missing over there wouldn't be like that.
Let's go into some more stories. As the news just coming through is that the Chief Executive Officer of the Komfo Teaching Hospital, Professor Ochre Adai-Mensah, has been relieved of his duties and is expected to hand over to a yet-to-be-named CEO by next week. The decision, which takes immediate effect, was made following a meeting with the Health Minister, Kwabena Mintakando. According to our sources, the Health Minister, in a meeting with Professor Adai-Mensah, conveyed the government's appreciation for his unique commitment and sense of responsibility in ensuring Komfo Teaching Hospital became a modern health facility. Professor Adai-Mensah, who has served as CEO since 2022, oversaw a number of key initiatives, including infrastructure upgrades such as the Asanteh's Hill Cath project. With 2 years still left on his contract, the outgoing CEO would be leaving office, having spearheaded the most famous renovation project, dubbed the Hill Komfo project, an initiative to mark Komfo Teaching Hospital's modern premier health facility status. From 2 dialysis machines in 2022, Professor Adai-Mensah, through his industry and influence, will be leaving behind over 20 dialysis machines for the treatment of renal issues, aside from many other massive retooling efforts and the construction of a modern pharmaceutical block. Meanwhile, government is expected to announce a new replacement for the health facility in the coming week. So that's one we're keeping an eye on here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale, and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Finally, before we go, excavator operator Ahmed Nuhu has been arrested by the Ghana Police Service after he was caught by officials of the Achimota Forestry Commission engaging in illegal mining, widely known as Galamsey, in the Aprenum Forest. The suspect, together with several others who are currently on the run, invaded the Aprenum Forest Reserve close to Asantiachim area on the Pra River with 2 excavators degrading the forest. Now, acting on intelligence, the Assistant District Manager of the Akim Oda District of the Forestry Commission, Richmond Amo Ajay, together with forestry guards, swooped in on them right in the act and managed to arrest Ahmed Nuhu. His accomplices, however, took to their heels entering the forest. Confirming the arrest to the media, Richmond Amoje, who indicated that the 2 excavators had been confiscated, says the suspect has also been handed over to the Jasso police, who have taken over the investigations to get those who are currently on the run. And that's information on this. As more of this on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Thank you very much for staying with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale, and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. This morning is on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com and join me and Kemini Amano together with the team on Ghana Tonight at 10 p.m. on also tomorrow morning on TV3 and on 3FM 92.7. We have Key Point at 7 a.m. On behalf of the rest of the team, to stay safe. We're just getting information from the Ghana Meteorological Agency of a weather warning. The rains are expected to come down heavy this evening, and the clouds have started gathering already, and we also have information that the rains have already started in parts of Tema and Ashaman as well, coming down to the most part of the Greater Accra region. We'll keep an eye on how things play out, and we'll definitely be updating you in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Alfred Akrofi. Have a great weekend.